Hi, second grade. In this video, I'll be helping you with Social Studies, Day 1, March 18th. All you'll need is your packet and a pencil. First, go to the 5-day lesson outline. Today, we're going to read the nonfiction passage. We'll look at vocabulary words, we'll mark up the passage, and then we'll complete the Cloze notes section. Let's start by looking at the vocabulary words so that we can see what's coming up in this passage. Go to the page titled Vocabulary Slides. I'll read the definitions and you can follow along in your packet. Acquired. To have gotten something so that now it belongs to you. Privileges. Special advantages given to a group of people. Petitioned. Having formally asked those in power for a request. Solution. The plan for how to solve a problem. Turn the page. Compromise. When people agree to accept something that is not completely what they wanted in order to satisfy others. Now turn to the nonfiction passage. I'm going to read the nonfiction passage. As I'm reading, I'm going to use my pencil to label some things. I'm going to label the paragraphs. I'm going to circle the topic of the passage. I'm going to underline main ideas in the passage. I'll put stars next to supporting details. I'll put question marks next to things that I have questions about, and an exclamation point if something surprises me. Use your pencil to follow along and mark it up just like I do. Missouri Compromise of 1820. I'll label this paragraph 1. The land that would eventually become Missouri was first acquired in 1801 as part of the Louisiana Purchase. Thousands of people soon settled in the region. William Clark, who had famously explored the land with Meriwether Lewis, became the governor of the Missouri Territory. I'm going to circle the first sentence because that's the topic of this passage. I'm next going to label paragraph 2. The Louisiana Purchase became the Louisiana Territory, and in 1812, a part of it became the state of Louisiana. The rest of the region was divided into two areas, the Arkansas Territory and the Missouri Territory. People living in the Missouri Territory could send one person to Congress to represent them. John Scott, a well-known lawyer, was chosen by the people in 1817. Soon, more and more people moved to the Missouri Territory. However, since it was a territory and not a state, the people living there did not enjoy the same rights and privileges as citizens of a state. Missourians wanted to be full-fledged citizens of the United States. So, in 1818, John Scott petitioned Congress to admit Missouri as a state. I'm going to underline, Missourians wanted to be full-fledged citizens of the United States, because that's the main idea of this paragraph. I'm going to put a star next to John Scott, a well-known lawyer, was chosen by the people in 1817. That's a detail that tells me how Missouri would become a full-fledged state. I'll label this paragraph, paragraph 3, and keep reading. If a territory wanted to become a state, it needed to have at least 60,000 people living within the borders. Missouri easily met this requirement. However, some people in Missouri owned slaves. The question then became, would Missouri be a free state where slavery was illegal, or a slave state where people could own slaves? At the time, that was not an easy question to answer. I'm going to underline, the question became, would Missouri be a free state where slavery was illegal, or a slave state where people could own slaves? That's the main idea of the next two paragraphs. Now I'll label paragraph 4 and keep reading. When John Scott asked if Missouri could become a state, there were just as many free states as slave states. This equal balance meant that neither side became too powerful than the other. If Missouri joined the Union as a slave state, then those in favor of slavery would have more votes. However, if Missouri joined as a free state, then those opposed to slavery would have more votes. Votes meant power, and neither side wanted to give up power. Also, since so many people owned slaves in Missouri already, the leaders of Missouri wanted Missouri to join as a slave state. Yet many people wanted all land bought in the Louisiana Purchase to eventually become a free state. I'll label the next paragraph as paragraph 5 and keep reading. Henry Clay, a congressman from Kentucky, proposed a solution to the problem. Clay suggested that not only Missouri, but also Maine be admitted as states to the Union. Missouri would be a slave state and Maine would join as a free state. The balance of power would then remain equal. In addition, he also proposed that any new states formed from territory above the 36.5 degrees latitude line, except for Missouri, would all be free states. Congress agreed to this plan, which became known as the Missouri Compromise of 1820. That same year, Maine joined as a free state. The next year, in 1821, Missouri was admitted to the Union as a slave state. I'll underline the sentence that says, Missouri would be a slave state, and Maine would join as a free state, because that's the main idea of this paragraph. I'll put a star next to the sentence that says, in addition, he proposed that any new states formed from territory above the 36.5 degree latitude line, except for Missouri, would all be free states, because that's a detail that describes more about the Missouri Compromise. I'll label the last paragraph as paragraph 6 and keep reading. The people living in Missouri chose a group of men to meet in St. Louis with the purpose of writing a state constitution. A constitution is a written plan for government. The one written for Missouri was like the United States Constitution. Missouri officially became the 24th state in America on August 10, 1821. Despite having served as the territory's governor for many years, William Clark of the Lewis and Clark expedition lost his bid to be the state's first governor to Alexander McNair. The state's early leaders created a capital close to the center of the state in what would eventually be named Jefferson City after President Thomas Jefferson. I'm going to underline the sentence that says, the people living in Missouri chose a group of men to meet in St. Louis with the purpose of writing a state constitution, because that's the main idea of this paragraph. I'm going to put a star next to the sentence that says, Missouri officially became the 24th state in America on August 10, 1821, because that's an important detail that describes when Missouri became a state. Now, go to the next page with your assignment, the Cloze notes. Cloze notes for text, Day 1, 3:18. Directions. Fill in the missing words from the text. As you're completing these Cloze notes, first, make a prediction about what you think is going to go in the blank. After you make the prediction, go back and check your answer in the nonfiction passage. When you're sure that your answer is correct, write it inside the blank. I'll do the first paragraph with you, and then you can do the rest by yourself. The land that would eventually become blank was first acquired in 1801 as part of the blank purchase. I think that this first blank is Missouri, the land that would eventually become Missouri. And the second one is the Louisiana Purchase. I'm going to go back to the nonfiction passage to check to see if that answer is correct. Let's see. The land that would eventually become Missouri was first acquired in 1801 as part of the Louisiana Purchase. Since I was correct, I'm going to fill those in the blanks, making sure I'm using proper capitalization and spacing, and spelling each word correctly as it's used in the rest of the text. Thousands of people soon blank in the region. What do you think goes in the blank? Came to, landed in, stopped by. Let's check in the nonfiction text to see what the answer is. Thousands of people soon settled in the region. The word we were looking for is settled. I'll write it in the blank. Again, making sure I'm using proper capitalization and spelling. And move on to the next sentence. William Clark, who had famously blanked the land with Meriwether Lewis, became the blank of the Missouri blank. What do you think goes in each blank? After you have a guess, go back to the nonfiction passage, check your work. William Clark, who had famously explored the land with Meriwether Lewis, became the governor of the Missouri Territory. And go back and fill in the blanks, again with proper capitalization, spelling, and spacing. Now it's your turn. Again, complete the rest of the Cloze notes for today's assignment. Make a prediction about what goes in the blank. Check your prediction in the nonfiction passage. Write the correct answer with correct capitalization, spacing, and punctuation. After you've filled out all of the Cloze notes, make sure you reread the passage with yourself, with a grown-up, or with the video to make sure that everything makes sense. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, contact Mr. Constantino at 314-623-9553. Stay happy and stay healthy.